So what makes a Philly cheesesteak a Philly cheesesteak? So I do know that you can get cheesesteaks outside of the Philadelphia area. There's menus throughout the country where you can find Philly cheesesteak on the menu. It's not as concentrated as it is in the Philadelphia area, but you can find Philly cheesesteak on the menu outside the region. But what is it? What's so special about the Philly cheesesteak? So first off, like when you have Philly in the name, it's already suspect because if you're in Philadelphia or in the Philadelphia regions, it'll just say cheesesteak and not Philly cheesesteak. And so first off, let's talk about what a cheesesteak is. So a cheesesteak is a sandwich that uses a long Italian roll, kind of like a sub roll or hoagie roll, as you would say in the Philadelphia area. And it comes with most commonly ribeye steak, and it may come with American cheese whiz provolone cheese, and a more recent development is the Cooper Sharp craze. And also the commonly you'll get fried onions on it. So when you hear whiz or American wit, it means that cheese with onions. And other people may add things like peppers or mushrooms on it. Many people you ask will say a real cheesesteak will not have peppers and onions on it. I mean, I'm sorry, it has onions in it, but doesn't have peppers and mushrooms on it. I think if you don't have onions on it, that means you don't understand the true value of a cheesesteak. And the other piece is the roll itself. The roll in a Philly cheesesteak is crusty and slightly crispy on the outside and soft but also hefty on the inside. So you don't, it's soft enough where like you appreciate it when you eat it, but it's not so soft where it gets soggy from the juices. So the juices, of course, is key. That's what I feel like if you don't appreciate the juice, that's why I think the onions are necessary, because the juiciness is, I think, essential. It's the essence of what a cheesesteak is. And then, of course, the quality of the roll where it holds up against the juices, and the soft inside and crusty outside makes the full experience. I think you ask many people, the roll can make or break a cheesesteak. So, if anecdotally, people will say that it's the Philadelphia tap water used in the roll that gives it its specific quality, and I think there is some truth to that. So the tap water in Philadelphia is pretty moderately hard water because of the mineral content of the Schuylkill and Delaware rivers, where the Philadelphia Water Department sources their water from. And the mineral content allows the bread not to be so too soft where it's soggy, but just the right softness level to hold up against the juices of the steak. So if it were too minerally, then you'll have a harder bread, but it's just enough mineraliness to give it that consistency. And the other thing about the Philadelphia tap water, it's kind of like a I don't know, win-lose type of thing, is the Philadelphia tap water is high in chlorine, because the Philadelphia Water Department, I don't know if it's high, but they use chlorine, which gives it its kind of taste that some locals, or a lot of locals, don't like about it. The chlorine used to treat the water gives it this taste, and that's probably why locals call it Schuylkill punch. But the chlorine actually interferes with the yeast fermenting the bread. So many bakeries actually will filter out or remove the chlorine from the water for optimal fermentation and quality of the roll. And Also, the way that the dough is prepared, they use high protein flour, bread flour for it. They fold it multiple times to make it a tight dough for its specific consistency. So it's consistent density and quality of it all the way around the roll. So it's hefty and holds up against the juices. And they utilize steam in the oven to give the outside its slightly crispy and crusty outside. And commonly you may see ground up cornmeal sprinkled on top or the bottom to add to the consistency, and I think it does add a nice little flavor to it. And nowadays, the Cooper Sharp cheese and sesame seed roll is the craze right now. I'm not a huge fan of the sesame seeds because I think it adds a flavor to it that I think is unnecessary. And I don't like the aftertaste of sesame seeds. But also the Cooper Sharp cheese. I think if you are to if you think Cooper Sharp is what makes a cheesesteak, a Philly cheesesteak, you don't understand what's good about a cheesesteak. So and then I forgot the other pieces that the ribeye steak. The ribeye steak is used because it's a well marbleized fatty steak, which makes it a juicy sandwich. So if you use so much Cooper Sharp, as a lot of places that use Cooper Sharp, they use so much of it where it kind of masks the taste of the steak, and it's kind of like too sharp a cheese for a cheesesteak where it overpowers the whole flavors of everything else. So if you like your cheesesteak just drenched in the Cooper Sharp, then you don't understand cheesesteak. But I guess I do see the value of it, because like they say that the Cooper Sharp is extra creamy and ideal for melting, which may be ideal for a cheesesteak, but again, it's too sharp the cheese, overpowers the sandwich, and places that use it typically use too much of it. And another thing is, though ribeye is the most commonly used steak, it's not used everywhere. My favorite place is John's Roast Pork, and instead of ribeye, they use loin tail. And loin tail is the end pieces of a tenderloin cut. So the tenderloin is where the filet mignon comes from. The center of a tenderloin is the filet mignon, and the ends of it is the loin tail. And the tenderloin is I think the most, if not the most, it's one of the more tenderest part of beef. It's because the cow doesn't use that muscle very much, so it's very tender yet lean. So it actually has low fat content compared to the ribeye, but the loin tails are fattier than the fillet center piece. I don't think it's quite as marbleized or fatty as the ribeye, but it's just enough to where you get the tenderness of the tenderloin cut, but also enough fat to make it a juicy sandwich. John Bucci, the owner of John's Roast Pork, says he chooses loin tail over ribeye because it is tender and fatty, but not nearly as gristly as the ribeye. Again, John's is my favorite, so I don't know if it would be better with ribeye, but the steak itself is part of what I like about it, so maybe he has something there. And also, Jim's on South Street, they also don't use ribeye, and instead they use top round. Top round is also a leaner cut of beef compared to the ribeye, and it's people describe it as having a more beefier flavor. And the way it's explained, or the way Jim's explains it, is that it's ideal for the way they prepare the cheesesteak. So Jim's, compared to some other places, they chop the steak up more finely, and something about the top round makes it ideal for that. And then it also makes it ideal for using Cheese Whiz, because when you put, the way they do it, they put the Cheese Whiz on the roll, put the steak on, and then they put whiz over it. And because it's cut so finely, the cheese like really moves through the rest of the sandwich, so you can get cheese whiz every bite. And I think, though it's not my favorite cheesesteak, Jim's is probably my favorite whiz cheesesteak in Philadelphia.